Good morning, everyone. We'll go and get this regular meeting of the Sierra County Commission called to order. Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call?
Commissioner Day?
Here.
Commissioner Paxton?
Here.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Here.
Also in attendance is County Manager Vaughn and County Attorney Pato.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Vice Chair Paxton, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Vice Chair Paxton. Well, welcome, everyone. We hopefully will get some rain today, and if we do, I think we should recess as a commission and go outside for a little bit. But we will worry about that if it comes. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up is the approval of the minutes. There's two of them from the May 20th regular meeting and the June 10th special meeting. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of May 20th and June 10th.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 3, public comment. We had no one signed up, but we have a pretty full group. Does anyone wish to give public comment? No one? We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda A through F.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Going on to presentations and reports, years of service awards, Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. We have quite a few today. Starting off with SCRTA, with 3 years of service, is Imogen Waddell. And the next one, also from SCRTA, with 2 years of service, is Lee Crum. Next in the assessor's office with 18 years of service is Tina Montero. Moving on to the road department with 2 years of service is Robert Wyatt. And the next one also in the road department is Ron Garcia with 2 years of service. And then with 4 years of service, also in the road department, Albert Lucero with 4 years. Thank you. Next up, in detention, we got 3. We have Santiago with 3 years of service.
Morning.
Next in the detention is Jeremy Schmidt with 6 years of service. And last, also in detention with 7 years of service, is Dean Mercy.
Thank you, Manager Vaughn. Next, we will go to department reports. And we will go to, let's see, everyone's sitting in the back this afternoon, this morning. So we will go to Travis. So you're going to give the
Emergency.
emergency. Thank you.
Yeah. We're a
Man,
team.
I was drawing a blank.
We got rain on the plate.
That's it, that's right.
Morning, everybody. Just for an update, we did finally complete, we've got now 10 certified swiftwater rescue technicians in the county.
10.
So 4 from Elephant Butte, 4 from SVH, myself, and Jake with Game and Fish. And we'll schedule another one probably next year. Other than that, we're just monitoring weather. Ryan's still up in Silver assisting up there, so. Oh, we actually have the permits now for Emery Pass and Lookout. Signed, and they're in our hands, so. That took 18 months. So we'll start Lookout probably in 2 weeks. That'll only take a day. Emery will start in August. So I'll stand for questions.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
Just one. I think it's highly unusual that we have Sierra Vista Hospital with their emergency management corps that got 4 of them
Yes.
certified. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because they currently have 6 that are ops level, and now we have an additional 4 that are tech.
That's great. That's good to hold that class and get that many certified. So,
Yeah, and we've got it to where we can at least break the team up to 3 different crews, so.
and I told you should have been in a wetsuit.
Dry suit was hurting on Sunday, 108 degrees.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Travis. Go to Mickey next with dispatch.
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Not much in updates. We had our SCRTA board meeting last Wednesday, and we had our testing last week for Next Gen 911, kind of live testing. Everything went great. We are going to have a go live middle of next month, and Sierra County will be up and running on the Next Gen 911 system. So a little training on the texting 911. I know Bernalillo is already doing the texting 911. They get more of an influx of texts than probably what we will, but we're pretty excited to move forward. SCRTA's been on the ball. We've been compliant with everything, and so we're one of the first on the rollout to go live with Next Gen 911. And that's all I have.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Mickey. Patrick with detention.
Good morning, Commissioner, Manager Vaughn. I'm happy to announce we are fully staffed at the detention center. Austin will start tomorrow. Our other 2 new officers, Nicholas and Jose, have really picked up the procedures and stuff in transporting, booking, and releases, and they're a pretty valuable asset to us. And that's thanks to our senior officers. Sheriff Baker and I got together. I gave him a list of trainings that I would like our officers to go through now. And here in the new fiscal year, we'll be making arrangements for that. Our daily population right now, we have 59, but that's to be expected with the summer season coming on. And hopefully, the July 4th weekend isn't too busy, but we're anticipating maybe about 20 bookings because it's increased. 2023, we had 12. 24, we had 16, so we're anticipating about 20. And I'm open for any questions.
Comments, questions?
Doing a great job, Patrick. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Good to see your officers here today.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
They're doing a great job.
So go to the back row now. Ernie.
Good morning. It's been a busy month. We finally got all the ACs working at the Albert J. Lyons, so that is taken care of, thank goodness. We had some more ACs go down at the health office this last week. We're getting those taken care of. One's fixed already, the other one is getting a compressor put in it this morning. And we were super busy with the away ball field, prepping that and getting it ready for the all-star games they had. That went over very smoothly. Everybody was very impressed with the field down there in the park. Had a lot of compliments on it, and everything went great. We worked great with Ed down there. He went ahead and took care of the garbages over the weekend and changed them out for us, and then we picked them up on Monday morning and got rid of it all. So other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
Comments, questions?
that ball field is still such a gem and in such good shape, and y'all are to be congratulated on getting it ready. The city crews were hustling to try to keep up, Ernie, which is good for them,
Yes.
but we heard good things about the All-Stars and the activities there, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I went to a game there the other night, and it was a packed house. I mean, there was
Yeah.
trucks and vehicles everywhere, and the stands were full. It was nice to see, and like Jim said, everyone was very impressed with the facilities, those trees. Give it 5 years, there's going to be a lot of shade there, so thank
There is, yeah. Those are coming out pretty good. They kind of died off when we first put them in, but they told us they would because they were already growing roots through the bucket. They cut them. It's going to shock them, but they're all coming back really nice, so.
Good. Thank you.
No, and I just want to echo, I know I talked to one individual from out of town. They said it was amazing. You come off of the exit at Array, and of course it's Array Ag everywhere. They said then you pull up and there's this super fancy baseball facility
Right.
out kind of in the middle of this small town. And so I just want to echo what my commissioner said. People were very complimentary, very impressed with the ball field, and that just, it's an echo to your team and your guys' work ethic to get that up and going. So thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Field of dreams.
It is exactly.
Yeah, it is out there. Really nice.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.
We'll go to,
All we need is corn.
that's it, yeah, exactly. We'll go to Keith next.
Morning, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Nothing major going on right now, just a few address applications that I'm working through. As soon as this is over, I'll be heading out to get a new one that just came in yesterday. Maintenance is maintenance, it's just ongoing. On the last report, I did show that I'm at less than 1% in errors now. So with the next gen 911 that's coming out, we're almost to 100% on any kind of errors, and the errors are within the municipalities, TRC, Elephant Butte, so I'm working with them to try and resolve those. And that's it. I stand for any questions.
Well, we expect that 100%.
We're getting there.
You've worked hard on that, and
Yes.
and that's so critical for emergency responses and getting help to where they need to be, so thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Keith.
All right, thank you.
Billy.
The trophy man. We'll have to pry it out of him.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair, Manager Vaughn. We've been pretty busy this month with just regular blading, trying to catch up a little bit because we were using our operators on our LGRF project, but they're getting pretty close to getting caught up. Finished all of our chip seal in Animas, Monticello, and East Grand Percha down right next to the ballpark there in Array. We've got it scheduled for June 30th through the 3rd of July to fog seal all of those roads. And altogether, we did almost 10 miles this year, so that's about the biggest year we've had in mileage-wise on chip seal, so that turned out pretty nice. Last week I took 6 guys to Clovis, and we went to the New Mexico Counties conference, and we did pretty good. We got 1 first, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds altogether. Shane Atwell, he did very well. Ernie let him take him, so he got a second and a third in the backhoe, and that means a lot because there's lots of operators down there from lots of different places, and he did very well, so pretty proud of him.
Who else won, Billy?
I got a first, a second, and a third, and he got a second and a third, so,
Thought you'd bring the trophies.
yeah, I should have. They're sitting at the office, but, yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And I'll stand for any questions.
Just a question, if we get significant rain and it wets the surface, does that delay your fog sealing and your chip sealing?
It can, as long as it's not too wet, we can still fog seal, because it's actually a water product too, so it has water in it.
Okay.
So once it evaporates, it's pretty much dry. So if it's not raining while we're spraying, we can still do it, as long as it doesn't throw a bunch of dirt on the road.
We just hope everything gets saturated.
Yeah, and we can always reschedule fog seal, so that doesn't bother me.
Good.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Go to Sheriff Baker next.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Not a whole lot to report on, just a few things, winding down this budget, getting ready for the next one. Our remaining 2 vehicles in Albuquerque are scheduled to be done this week, so we should pick those up this week. Kind of happy about that. That'll put the oldest unit in our fleet as a 2022. So that's going to be nice. We did fill our final vacancy last week, so we're fully staffed as well. We did receive a vessel from Eddy County. We're working on getting maintenance and badging on it, so hopefully we can be up midsummer. If the lake keeps dropping, I think we're going to have as much of a footprint as State Parks does. So we're trying to get prepared for that. Getting ready for the 4th of July holiday weekend. I do want to commend Ernie and the guys. The field in Array was amazing. Sierra County Little League as a whole did an amazing job for the first time hosting All-Stars in, I think, over a decade. So we were down there on Sunday volunteering, and with the concession stand, it was a really nice event, and it went really well in Sierra County. And that's pretty much all I have. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Manager Vaughn, anything to report?
I just wanted to give a brief update on the fairgrounds project. It's still on time and on schedule. They were doing the plumbing, that was getting inspected last week. After that was going to be done, they were going to pour the concrete. The new metal building for the bathrooms and the kitchen was ordered. It was a couple weeks out, so it should be here probably this week or next week. Everything's moving smoothly. We are moving forward with putting a wall on one side of the pavilion to create shade, so that'll happen. Putting a fence around the retention pond so that no one drives into it. The other item that came up that I'm looking into is because of the new HVAC units, there had to be some holes put in the barn, and it got rid of the sign that was there, so I'm looking at different ways to put a new sign on that building, as well as painting it. And that's all I have. I'll stand for any questions.
Just one comment. I think that our media representative here, Matt and his wife, Kelly, they're responsible for getting the All-Stars games here. It was a dream of Rick Phelps, who was a longtime supporter of baseball and just such a community man and such a wonderful guy that passed on several years ago, that Matt dedicated himself to making that dream come true for his dad. This is quite an achievement, and I think that with our wonderful ball fields and the things that are happening in the city ball fields, they're putting new turf in and getting things going, and we're going to see more of those kinds of events. And there was a lot of people in town, and restaurants were crowded, and it just, I think everybody had a good time. And it was great that they came from all over the state to play ball here. So I hope that the Felts are recognized for their efforts and for sharing in the success that we had. It was a great effort.
Thank you, Vice Chair Paxton. Commissioner Hopkins, anything? No. I have nothing. Next up, we will go to the audit report with our auditor. I'll hand the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. We have highlights from the exit conference. I believe, Commissioner Day, you were there back in either late November, early December, something like that. It's been a while. The state auditor this year was a little bit slow in turning around audit reports. I'm not sure why. They were started off strong, but then towards your deadline and the last deadline, they really got slow. So we're just now going over this. Overall, high level, audit went extremely smooth like it has the last couple of years. So we really didn't have any issues, but we'll just go over some of the highlights. The first thing is talking about our opinion. We issued what we call an unmodified opinion, or as I always put right up there in brackets, a clean opinion, exactly the type of report that the county wants to receive. So this is a good thing. In the audit report are two other reports that are ours. The first one on the left is a Yellow Book report. All audits in New Mexico have to have a Yellow Book report. And the reason is the state auditor wants us to expand the type of testing we do above what regular auditing standards require. And then they also expand it by the state audit rule. We do have one finding that we'll talk about as a result of that, and then we had the single audit, the federal funds audit, and we are issuing an unmodified, or we issued an unmodified opinion on that one too. So both opinions in your audit report were exactly what you want to receive. This next slide is really just to talk about how are your records being maintained at the county. When we ask questions, are we getting good supporting documents? Are we getting good information? Is it in proper order? Are we getting approvals done correctly? Are we following policies? And as you can see here, we did not have any difficulties. So what that tells the commission is your accounting records are being well maintained and the policies that have been established by the county are being well followed. The next one is audit adjustments. We talk about this one every year because it's really important to know, can the commission rely upon the numbers that are given to you throughout the year? It's the whole purpose for this particular communication. We have a couple of adjustments, but to be honest with you, they're ones we have every year because the state of New Mexico requires you to adopt your budget, report to DFA on a basis of accounting that's not a part of what we call GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles. So as a result, every year your team has to give us journal entries to get us from that methodology that DFA requires you to report to them to the methodology where we can give a clean opinion. So we did not have a single adjustment that related to how you maintain your records throughout the year, how you report to DFA. So again, the takeaway here is that your system's working so that the commission can rely upon those numbers as you get them throughout the year. If we had disagreements with management, we'd have to let you know, and we didn't. Like I said, the audit went extremely smooth. The next slide is very similar. I call it opinion shopping. If management went out and tried to get an opinion that was different than us because of an issue, we'd have to let you know, and as you can see here, that did not happen. The last two slides are related to findings. The first one is we still have the finding over capital assets. If I'm going off of memory, and my memory fails me a lot, but it seems like we've hired somebody else to kind of help us get over that hump, and so hopefully this one will be removed next year. And see the shaking of heads. So,
Company to come in and do the fixed assets.
and I think this, again, this one should be resolved finally, and we'll be able to move on. We did have a finding related to fuel cards. We had a few transactions where the receipts were not turned in, and there was no proper approval of some of those fuel card transactions. So the supervisors or somebody with knowledge of, are these legitimate types of transactions, really need to approve those. So that needs to happen this year. We had one finding from the prior year that was resolved. We actually had two. We had the fixed assets, which was repeated, and then we had another one with payroll. When we went through and tested payroll, we did not have any issues this year, so that finding was removed. The last thing is I have just a few slides over the general fund, which is really the operational fund of the county. And as you can see, the assets went to 10.3 million. Your liabilities are 400,000 in that fund, giving you net assets, or what we call fund balance, of almost $10 million. The assets in that fund are mostly cash and investments. They're 9.3 million. Receivables are 800,000, and other assets are 200,000. I had some notes at the bottom. I think they're just getting covered, but really your assets went up. Let me look at the previous slide. I think about not quite 3.4 million, and most of that was really cash. That's 3.3 million, I believe, was the increase in cash this year. So the general fund's cash did improve during FY24. If we go to liabilities, they were really, really consistent. You only have about 370,000 in liabilities in this fund. And this doesn't include long-term debt and things like those. It's because it's a fund basis, your general fund is. And so there wasn't a lot of liabilities, and they were within $3,000 between the 2 years, so very consistent. The general fund also had an increase in revenue of about 700,000. When I tried looking at, well, what was that comprised, it really was all over the place. So your grants, your sales tax, GRT taxes, PILT, charges for services, everything kind of went up in the general fund in FY24 from FY23. Your expenditures went up about 400,000, and the biggest thing there was capital outlay went up about 300,000, and I think it was projects that were budgeted for, and so that was the reason for the increase. Everything else really remained fairly consistent. So the general fund had a good year this last year, and with that, open up to any questions that anybody might have.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
Just one comment.
Go ahead.
We only got a year left, he and I, to get the assets management fixed. So we're glad to hear that it's in a positive direction. Manager Vaughn has made some significant strides with an outside company management and a new hire who really is sharp on assets. So we're looking forward to exiting with a clean slate next year. So thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate you looking at it.
Yes.
And then just want to not echo that, but just say whenever we first heard of that finding, I think at that time we knew it was going to be a multi-year fix. We knew it was a significant issue. So I think every year we've kind of progressed into addressing that finding, and I think hopefully next year that we'll be able to get it knocked off completely. And then the other finding, I think that's a small, just kind of an operational conversation fix.
That is something we test every year. We just had some things fall through the cracks this year. We've not had problems with those in the past, so again, I do think it's an exception. The fixed asset one is a huge one, because that listing is very extensive. You took steps a couple of years ago getting a software. It's just that software wasn't quite taking everything into account, and so we just needed somebody else to kind of help push over. And you're exactly right. A lot of progress has been made over the last couple of years, and it is something that kind of goes awry quickly, but it takes some time to get cleaned up.
Manager Vaughn, anything you want to add?
I just wanted to make a comment on the second finding regarding the fuel receipts. That's already been handled this fiscal year. We came up with a new process and fixed it.
I'd just like to congratulate Amber and all the staff, the county staff, because audits are never fun. And I worked for the schools for several years, and you just kind of walk around with a knot in your stomach, but I think this is a really, really good report, so thank you.
I understand what you're talking about. We got audited by the state auditor like 2 weeks ago, and being on the other side, it's not fun. But, we've got a job to do. We just try and go through and do it, make suggestions. What you want to see as a commission, are we learning and getting better? You don't want to see the same findings. We've had the capital asset one, but that's a big one. Again, I think it'll be resolved. The culture you want to see is, yes, we're going to learn and get better, and we're going to take the findings, just like we talked about the fuel receipts. We've already got new processes in place. That's the whole reason for an audit, and that's the culture you want to see as a commission, and that's the culture I've seen at this county as your auditor, that they take the items seriously and they get dealt with, and that's, again, what you want to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, if there's nothing else, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Next up, we'll go to the Board of Finance, the May reconciliation. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the May reconciliation.
A second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the reconciliation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We do have one item under old business. It is the amendment to the IGA between Doña Ana County and Sierra County, and we'll go to our attorney, Dave Pato.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. This amendment is simple. It increases the cost of juvenile detention from $200 a day to $475 a day. That's about $173,000 a year if this board needs to detain and hold a juvenile defendant. But it also extends the term. Our detention administrator has made an inquiry as to whether or not this rate is comparable to that of other jurisdictions, and it is. And so we're seeking your approval.
Thank you. And one question, maybe it's a question for Patrick. How many juveniles have we even housed?
We have none right now.
None? We have.
Thankfully.
Okay.
And
knock
let's,
on wood,
yeah.
yes.
We had one last year, but we haven't had any this year.
Commissioners, comments, questions? None? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the amendment IGA between Doña Ana County and Sierra County.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to new business, item A is the letter from Sierra County to Elephant Butte regarding withdrawal from Sierra Vista Hospital JPA. And Commissioners, just a couple things. I think the goal on this is, one, some public awareness about what's going on, and then two, the actual letter itself. So as Chair of the JPC, do you want to kind of give a background on this item and kind of what's going on?
Yes. We had a Joint Powers Commission meeting last week. Elephant Butte voted on May 14th to withdraw from the Joint Powers Commission. So the hospital is owned by 4 entities. Truth or Consequences has 40% ownership, Sierra County 40%, Elephant Butte 15%, and Williamsburg 5%. The JPC really is responsible for the assets and the overall fiscal health of the hospital. The governing board runs the day-to-day activities. With their withdrawal by May 14th, they notified us on May 30th that in 90 days, the withdrawal would go into effect. That would be August the 28th. We don't really understand the reason for withdrawal, but that is surely Elephant Butte's prerogative. Attorney Pato drafted a letter for me to share with Elephant Butte as the chair of the Joint Powers Commission. I have done that verbally with Mayor Phil Mortensen, and yesterday with their city manager, Jan Porter Correjo. There are several things that need to happen. This is just not a walk-away thing from the Joint Powers Commission. It requires an amendment of the Joint Powers Agreement, and they have to look at some things like that 15% ownership, like that 3/16 gross receipts tax that they commit to the hospital, like the payment of the loan that doesn't mature until 2046 for the building of the new hospital. We have a meeting scheduled for July 15th with all 4 entities. It is an adjunct meeting, so it will not be an open meeting. That will be a representative from each entity and their attorneys. And we will try to hammer out an amended joint powers agreement. Now, I'm telling you what Attorney Pato told me, so Dave, you can chime in, but each entity has to approve the amended joint powers agreement, and then it goes to New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration for their approval. They will look at the effects on the integrity of the hospital and the financial situation. And as long as all that's covered, it's kind of just go through the process. So Dave and I are hoping that we can come to agreement at that July 15th meeting. And with that, I guess I need to question our attorney if there needs to, since the meeting is scheduled and they've all intended that they're going to attend and work on an amended agreement. Do we need to send them a letter, Dave?
We can just send Elephant Butte a letter?
Yeah.
Well, as long as everyone's advised of when that meeting is, I think we should be fine.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Paxton, I need to examine further whether or not that would be a public meeting. I think that requires further consideration, because
Okay.
ultimately, we're going to be taking that and coming back to each of the entities for their consideration of an amended JPA. And so that might be a policy-making board or a board that would then trigger the OMA requirements. But I'll examine that further, and I'll make sure that
Okay.
we notice if it's required to be noticed, yes.
Yeah, we'll need to make whatever that decision is public in advance. Yep.
Thank you, Vice Chair Paxton. And I did, that was kind of one of my big things on this item, was just to get it out there, because I know there's been a lot of confusion out in the community. There's been some social media posts about what's going on, asking what's happening at Sierra Vista Hospital. So I just wanted to kind of have some of that background information put out there on public record about kind of what's going on. Again, this commission cannot speculate as to why Elephant Butte made their decision. I fully understand that it's within their authority as a board to make that decision based on what they think is best for their constituents within their municipality. So I'm not going to speculate, I'm not going to say why, and I hope that they do come up publicly and give an explanation just to kind of ease some of the rumors and potential rumors that are going to come up when this does become more of a public discussion out in the community. So with that, I kind of heard from Attorney Pato that this letter may not be necessary to send. And I hope that, that meeting that's happening on July 15th does go well. I think there's a lot to hammer out, and I think it's going to take some time to figure all that out. One thing I would ask going into that meeting is, I know it's been expressed by Elephant Butte that they're going to continue to commit their funding towards the repayment. I think I would like that a little more concrete than just a letter saying we're going to. So going into that meeting, if we can have that as a goal, I would be very appreciative of it, but go ahead, Dave.
Members of the board, I would hope that'd be reflected in the amended JPA that's going to be approved by DFA. So yes, that would be part of that.
Okay. And then I'll leave it up to the attorneys and representatives to kind of talk about how that 15% and some of those assets are spread apart, so.
One other note, Mr. Chair. Just for public awareness, there's been a lot of rumors that the hospital is not in good shape, that it's going to be sold. Boy, nothing could be further from the truth. The Joint Powers Commission is committed, but as far as the hospital's health, they have $13 million in the bank right now. They are required to have 130 days of cash on hand. They reported yesterday that they've got 156 days of cash on hand. That's $900,000 that they have money right now to operate the hospital on a daily basis. Back in 2009, they had 5 days of cash on hand and were questioning whether they could make payroll in 2009. So our hospital is healthy. Our rural health clinic is vibrant. Patients are being seen, treatments are being done. We're in really good shape. This is a bump in the road. The three remaining entities, City of Tiercy, Williamsburg, and Sierra County, will go on, and Sierra County is going to represent the citizens of Elephant Butte, just like we do the citizens of the rest of the unincorporated area in Sierra County. So we want to put those rumors to bed that the hospital is very healthy financially and their practices in management. So maybe that will find its way into the paper, Steve, and we can put some of those rumors to rest. We're going to continue serving the citizens and the residents of Sierra County.
Well, and then thank you for that, Vice Chair Paxson. One thing I just want to add to that is whenever people look at moving to a community, there's a couple things they really look at, and that's the healthcare and the schools. And so I think when these rumors are put out that the hospital's going to close, it's in terrible shape, it does make such a broader impact than just the citizens of Sierra County. When people hear that, they read that on social media, they're less likely to want to move here because the healthcare is bad. That's all they hear. And so these rumors do really do a lot of harm outside of just Sierra County. And so I always want to put that out there. And you know, we weren't on the commission whenever there was 5 days cash on hand, but I know when I got elected, there was a lot of stories about when those times were had, when there was literally days cash on hand. And it was not a good time to be in Sierra County, and we're in a much better financial position. Obviously, there's still challenges when it comes to healthcare in Sierra County. And I think between the governing board and the JPC, we're working through some of those. But the hospital's not closing down. The hospital's not going under. I cannot say that enough. It's a very financially healthy hospital that's providing really good health care to Sierra County citizens and those that visit here. So I just want to continue to put that out there. Let's dispel some of these rumors that are being put out there in the community.
So with that, Mr. Chair, I would request that we not take any action on a letter to Elephant Butte.
Perfect. I'm good with that. You're good with that? Yes. Let's go and do that as just a tabling motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we table the composition of a letter to Elephant Butte regarding their withdrawal from the Joint Powers Commission of Sierra Vista Hospital.
A second. I have a motion and a second to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving on to item B is donation of 38 HP ProDesk mini desktop computers from Lee County OEM to Sierra County OEM, and we'll go to Manager Vaughn to take this one.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Lee County received new computers, and they reached out knowing that we were working on doing an EOC for Sierra County and offered to donate the 38 computers to Sierra County for that. And that is what this letter is. If we accept that, we'll have those computers.
Commissioners, comments?
That's a good deal.
That's very generous and pretty amazing.
Yeah, Lee County's got a lot of money, so. Very generous, too.
Oil
So,
patch, huh?
yeah.
There's nothing else. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the donation of the 38 HP ProDesk mini desktop computers from Lee County to Sierra County.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the donation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Item C is the New Mexico Natural Resources Coalition.
Yeah.
You taking that one?
Let me
Okay.
start and then Dave pick up. At the New Mexico County's Commission affiliate summer retreat in Ruidoso a couple of months ago, we had two primary speakers. Howard Hutchinson with the Arizona-New Mexico Coalition of Counties was one, and the other was a guy from Kansas named Jim Carlson. There have been a couple of decisions lately from the Supreme Court. One that was very important was the Chevron deference, rescinding that. From that, the federal government from early in the 80s was taking federal law and making rules without opening that up for the way they manage to public comment and county coordination. That's a real problem. Endangered species, water rights, grazing issues, forest fire planning, electric corridors, a lot of issues with BLM on minerals and energy management, and the counties were pretty much left out. In 1999, Kansas, 18 counties, came together to make a natural resource coalition. In 2020, Montana did the same thing using their format. This last year, Utah formed a natural resources coalition. With that, the counties come together as a unified body to force the federal government to participate with the counties for things like EISs, forest plan revisions, energy development, and many things that the counties have not had a voice in. We've been allowed to comment, just like we did on the forest plan revision, but we have not been given coordinating status. There's two things that Mr. Carlson emphasized, is that we must have county natural resource management plans that parallel what the federal resource management plans are. This 2014 comprehensive plan update for Sierra County does not reflect natural resource management issues. We really need to update our plan. It's not in our budget right now, but I would ask that the commission consider, you're the representative on the Arizona-New Mexico Coalition. I got the Utah template that Howard Hutchinson is using, and I guess there's 8 counties that are doing that now. I would like us to update our natural resource and land management plan using that Utah format. A lot of that can be done in-house, but it's probably going to require some consultation to put that together, and Howard has a whole list of companies that do that, and you probably do too. So there's going to be an organizational meeting August the 12th for the New Mexico Natural Resource Coalition. I have been asked to participate in that, and it will involve 2 days of travel, and we'll be meeting in Ruidoso at the same time that the sheriff is having their conference, and minimal cost to the county. But at that meeting, there's an executive group of 5 or 6, Tina Dixon from Roosevelt County, Vicki Marquardt from Otero County, Art Malott from Hidalgo County, Gerard Size from Valencia, and Bill West from DeBaca, and me. That would be the organizing group to see if we want to go about getting this organization going. So I would like the commission's permission to participate in that. And I don't know that we're going to have an agenda, but whatever we need to do, we'll do what we need to do to move that forward. But the second thing is I think that we, as a commission, we can do it in another meeting. We need to consider going ahead and updating this 2014 plan to reflect the government standard for federal plans, so that then we can lever that against them when it comes to asking for more than comment, but being a coordinator and a cooperator with them, whether it's BLM, BOR, Forest Service, whomever. So with that, I'd say, Attorney Peto, do you have anything to add?
Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm just curious if our last plan was the 2014. Is there ever a timeline as to when you develop a new one, or just whenever it comes up, or?
Thank you, Commissioner and Chair. Yes, we should be looking at doing that. We were working with the COG on getting a grant from the state. I haven't heard back on the status of that. I will reach back out, and that we could use that money for that grant to rewrite this plan and include the items that Commissioner Paxton is asking for.
Mr. Chair? Generally, those plans have a shelf life of 10 years. And so we're beyond that.
Mr. Chairman, Manager Vaughn and I had an opportunity to visit about the process by which these plans are developed. And certainly, in addition to having these group meets, I think that it's important that there be public participation by Sierra County residents. And, I think that's how these plans really need to be developed, is in a local way, in communities and community meetings with our local folks. But yes.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, Attorney Peto. I think when we were talking the comprehensive plan, I understand the natural resource part of it, excuse me, but there's a housing part of it that's a pretty huge comprehensive plan.
Well, this one was built on economics.
Yeah.
It really doesn't have much of a natural resource. So I think we amend this and bring it up to date, and then include the natural resource management aspects of it.
And I think Manager Vaughn's on that. We'll continue to just kind of see what we can do to get that funded. But I agree, we're 11 years now behind, going to be 12. So, and in particular with this group, I think it's a good opportunity, good discussion that needs to be had. I guess my one question going into it, and it doesn't have to be answered today, is what is different from this group than maybe other groups we participate in?
Well, that is a good question. The Arizona-New Mexico Natural County Coalition is due mainly to Howard Hutchinson's efforts in organizing, being their executive director, and being the president of it for several years. I'm not sure it will withstand generational change. When Howard leaves the scene, that's going to take an effort. The other thing is, it's Arizona and New Mexico. This New Mexico Natural Resource Coalition would hopefully have a minimum of 18 and as many as 30 counties participate. There will be a cost to the participation. That's one thing that we'll go through in the organization to see if we can move forward. And if it doesn't work, we'll say, well, it doesn't look like it's going to work. But it would be only New Mexico. And I think we have 18 rural counties. So that's our primary thrust, is to get those 18 rural counties to come together and to speak with one voice.
And thank you for that. That was my only kind of thing, is how does this new potential group be different than kind of the rest of them? So I do appreciate that.
No competition, and in fact, support with the Arizona-New Mexico Coalition of Counties.
Well, it's not an action item, or do you want approval to attend that meeting?
I do need approval to attend the meeting, don't I, Amber?
I think it's it's budgeted to.
It's under new business. So, yeah, the board can authorize Commissioner Paxton to attend the meeting on the board's behalf.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the New Mexico Natural Resource Coalition and Jim going to the meetings.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Item D is the Mexican Wolf Ladder Ranch, and we'll go to, you want to take that one, then we'll go to Attorney Peto if
Okay.
there's anything.
I sit on the Mexican Wolf Executive Council with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as a representative of Sierra County. There was a wolf that went to Klein's Corners and was trapped because she was north of I-40. She was not a livestock depredating wolf. She was simply roaming around up there. They brought her back and turned her loose, and then she took off and went to the Valles Caldera up in the Taos area and was trapped again and brought back. The wolf advocates named her Asha. She's female 2754 is her registered number. And she bonded with a male in Sevilleta Wildlife Refuge up north of Socorro. Bonded means they bred and had pups. There's 5 pups. The male is a pen-raised wolf. He's not been in the wild. Brady McGee, the wolf coordinator with Fish and Wildlife Service, called me 2 weeks ago and told me that they were going to put those wolves out. Previously, Ladder Ranch had constructed a wolf pen in Seco Canyon about 1.5 miles from the forest boundary on the Ladder Ranch. From that, the previous Seco pack had some pups, and they were released in '23. That resulted in several wolf depredations on this side of the Continental Divide, which is our ranchers in Sierra County. Brady advised that they were going to use the same pen. Those wolves would be put in there between the 19th and the 23rd. They were put in there on the 19th. There's a male and female and 5 pups. They will let them get settled. They're being fed protein logs, which is generally roadkill or something like that. The people are coming in, they're wearing ghillie suits, there's no interaction with the wolves. At the time that they determine that they're settled and kind of secure in their surroundings, the gates to that acre or so pen will be released. I've been working pretty diligently because the Fish and Wildlife Service does not do a real good job of communicating with the locals. I've contacted all the ranchers but Mr. Solopek at the 47B on the Hillsborough side. And I understand that I tried to contact Randy Lindsay, but they're in Texas. They no longer have an interest in the Animas Creek allotment. So these wolves are going to be very close to Hermosa. There's a natural resource coalition down there, Travis Perry, that has a nonprofit. And Travis was very concerned. They got kids from junior high school to college that are there at Hermosa doing projects and summer camps and that sort of thing. Bob and Jennifer Doherty's cattle on North Palomas are 5 miles from the pen location, so they have a concern as well. I think Ray Pierce is here with us. They had 2 depredations of calves that were most likely wolf depredations in the past couple of days. There's a lot of anxiety with wolves being translocated into Sierra County. I registered a protest and a concern that Mr. McGee accepted and said they are within the legal bounds of the wolf recovery plan, and they will go ahead and turn the wolves loose as what is pending their getting settled in the pen. So they do understand our concerns, but they're going to move forward. They're trying to get to 320 wolves in Arizona and New Mexico so they can be delisted. We're moving in that direction, but we really have a concern for our Sierra County ranchers and for the folks that live in these homes that have little kids. And there's not been a recent wolf attack in the U.S. There have been in other nations, but it's just a concern because if they're wild, they're looking for a meal. They're looking for.
When are they going to be released again?
Probably in 2 weeks. The gate will be open, but they went in there on Friday, and I did confirm with a representative of the Ladder Ranch that they're there.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair Paxton. Anything additional you want to add on that?
No, I'd reflect to Dave.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Paxton, I would only add that we probably need to notify our producers in Sierra County about the availability of seeking compensation through the CLA for any depredations they might experience. I mean, we've tried the fight 2 years ago unsuccessfully when they previously released onto the Ladder Ranch. So I doubt the board wants to invest the resources in attempting that again. But what we do have is we have available those resources to help to make them whole. And I use that word very loosely because it doesn't make them whole. I mean, but
Yeah.
just provide compensation for the loss.
It is market value replacement, though, so it's much better than what they can get from Farm Services Administration.
And thank you for that, Attorney Pato. We can probably get something out to the community and about CLA Lake funding.
Chair, Commissioners, yes, we have a list of producers that was given to us by the Assessor's Office that we can target and send out those notifications.
And thank you for your work on that. I just want to make it noted. Whenever we signed that MOU, remember, we had a kind of a hard time with it as a commission.
Yes, we did.
And I think it, kind of what you said, and no fault of yours, but I think it was some of the concerns when we signed that MOU is it does give us a seat at the table, but in no decision-making authority. I don't know how many times we've protested, we've had issues, we've raised our concerns, and we're basically being told, you have legitimate concerns, but we're going to do it anyway. And so I just always want to put that out there, because I know that was a point of discussion, gosh, what was that, 6 years ago?
It was.
Probably.
Yeah.
That was kind of the thought process going into it.
2019.
2019,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's frustrating, but I was actually going to make the suggestion that we submit a letter of protest, but sounds like that's already been done, so.
Well, it was noted over the phone. I don't know if that is considered formal, but.
You know, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'd happily prepare a draft note of protest and get that off to Brady McGee and the folks at the Fish and Wildlife Service.
And the only reason I was going to suggest is we've kind of done it consistently. We've consistently opposed these, and so it just kind of adds more to the record of where we stand on the issue.
You know, if I may, Mr. Chair, this is a kind of a, maybe chasing rabbit around the hole, but one of the reasons for the New Mexico Natural Resource Coalition is eventually wolves will be south of I-40 from McKinley County to Lea County. And that's, I think it's 17 counties. A lot of these other counties that don't have wolves, right now they're in Socorro, Cibola, Hidalgo, Luna, Grant, and Sierra. That's 6 counties. Those other counties are going to suffer the same impacts that our livestock producers are suffering now. With one unified voice, we have a lot stronger position in communicating and demanding a seat at the table with Fish and Wildlife Service and other agencies, but that's just one prong that we can strengthen our position in that fight.
Thank you, Vice Chair Paxton. Commissioner Hopkins, anything?
No, it's just very discouraging. I mean, you put all this time and money into it and it falls in dead fish, so, all we can do is try again.
With that, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to have Attorney Pato draft up a letter opposing the release.
I would so move.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to have Attorney Pato draft up a letter and to send it off to U.S. Fish and Wildlife stating Sierra County's opposition to the release on the Ladder Ranch. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to contracts, agreements, and procurement. Item A is the Sierra County Fairgrounds Management Agreement. We'll go to Manager Bond.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. So this is the updated MOU with the Fair Board. I know that I need to make an amendment to it. They did get a new name, so anywhere in the agreement where it says Sierra County Fair, I think it says Fair Board, it needs to be changed to Sierra County Fair and Livestock Expo. That is the new official name from the government. Not many changes in here. We did sit down, myself and Commissioner Paxton, with members of the Fair Board to discuss these items. We made some tweaks to the one I think was done in the 80s. So this one has been a little while since this has been reviewed. But we all sat down, and there are slight changes. One of them is that we do want to make a little more transparent the fees that are charged at the fairgrounds. So we're asking them to bring the fees to the county commission for review and approval, and also giving them a deadline and asking that they get me any capital improvements that they want to see at the fairgrounds to me by March 15th, so we can make sure that it's included in the ICIP. We did just some clarification on who maintains, who does the operations, and all of that. And that is what's in this agreement. I will stand for any questions, and if
We'll go to, Julian, you have anything you want to add?
I really don't. Just
Okay.
thank you for the work on that. And thanks for letting us, work together. We've been working really well together. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Manager Vaughn, the only thing, and it's just a typo.
Oh.
OCD, we have it as a 10-year period, an agreement, and it just has it that it's going to expire on 2023.
This one says 2033.
2033, but if it's 10
Okay,
years.
yeah,
it'll be
we'll fix that. I don't know where that came from. We must have just
Okay.
missed that. We will make sure I
It
update
just-
that as well with the name change. So we'll get that, both of those updated.
Perfect. Commissioners, comments, questions?
What's the name of the new organization now?
Sierra County Fair and Livestock Expo. And Julian said the reason they had to is because it was a requirement for the 501c.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, given that this agreement needs to be revised and is not ready for execution today, but will likely be approved, do you want to authorize, part of the motion, someone to execute on behalf of the board?
I guess the question is could we just amend what's in our packet?
Yes,
Get it
you'll
printed?
approve the amended agreement, but we don't have that for you to sign today. So someone needs to actually sign the agreement on behalf of the county. So
Yeah.
the question is part of
They need to
the
sign
the
it
motion. If
before
you
we
would
do it.
designate someone to sign on behalf of the county, that'd be good.
Commissioners, who would that be, I guess, Dave?
It could be you or the manager,
You good
whichever.
with the manager signing it?
I'm good with the
Okay,
manager.
you good with it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Just a comment,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. You know, this, I think need to, hats off to Julian Marta, who is the president of the association. This was a little bit uncomfortable process when we started, wasn't it, Julian? I mean, it was not adversarial, it was just, I'm watching you kind of a deal, and maybe on both sides, but as we worked through, the Fair Board members understood that we are working so that we have a long-term future for the fair in Sierra County, and we're going to improve things and make them better and more opportunities for the kids. And boy, we had a healthy discussion and a good environment, and I think this is an excellent product that satisfies both of our boards, basically. So hats off to Julian for his leadership and for all the members of the Fair Board in a very honest, straightforward, cooperative atmosphere in reaching this result.
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Sierra County Fairgrounds Management Agreement with the amendment. Is that how you do it?
I'll second.
Could I just clarify, authorizing signature by the county manager?
County manager. Yep.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll get that one executed and get signatures on it.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you, Julie. Item B is work and finance plan with Sierra County and APHIS Wildlife Services. We'll go to Manager Vaughn, and then Ray, if you have anything you want to add, we'll go to you.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So this is the annual agreement. The cost for this is $46,900 annually. It has been included in the FY26 budget. If this is approved, it'll continue to be in the budget.
Perfect. Ray, anything you want to add, or?
Good morning, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Thank you for another year of working for the county, and I look forward to doing it this upcoming year. This has probably been one of our busiest years since I've been around anyhow, and especially with the wolf investigations. I have quite a few active predation cases going on, not including wolf stuff. And then, of course, some pet issues. This has also been a busy year for urban work, which I'm not sure we've had more urban issues. It's just that my name is getting spread around, and so the phone keeps ringing more and more. So So, helping animal control out and digging skunks under trailers and that kind of stuff. But I appreciate the county's super patient. I used to work for Doñana County, and I mean, it was hard to get stuff done because the patience wasn't there. So the residents of Sierra County have been fantastic with dealing with my schedule and what, the priorities that we have on investigations and that kind of stuff. So, and the only other change, we had some agency changes. Mr. Fajardo is retired, so we'll be getting a new district manager, which I'll pass that along as soon as we know who that is. Right now, John Grant will be handling he'll be my direct supervisor, I guess, which you all are familiar with him. Any questions?
No, I just appreciate all you do. I know anytime I call you, you're Johnny on the spot, and that means a lot to the residents of Sierra County, so thank you.
Thank you all, and look forward to another year.
We've had some real issues with wildlife services, but not our state and local guys. Wildlife Services made a unilateral decision, talk about rulemaking that was in clear violation of an 18-year standard on the wolf investigations. We still haven't got that figured out. But as far as John Grant as our state director, and really Ray Pierce, we couldn't have a better cooperator and partner. And there are a lot of issues, from gophers to skunks to coyotes to vermin, that are in these municipalities and in the little rural areas. And boy, Ray has been just great in responding, along with the wolf depredations and working with our sheriff's office so that our deputies are getting qualified to make those investigations in case Ray is not available and able to do that. And he's just been a real good partner. So Ray, we appreciate you. We're more than glad to execute this agreement that we do on an annual basis, but we do it because we have faith in the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing additional, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the work and financial plan between Sierra County and APHIS Wildlife Services.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the work and financial plan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Next up, we have approval of unauthorized purchase registration fee. We'll go to Manager Vaughn, our Finance Director.
Good morning, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. Before I get to this item, I do want to introduce our newest hire in the Finance Department. We are now fully staffed. I have Miss Wendy Dorsey here, who is hired as our accounting clerk to help us with our payroll and fixed assets. We're super excited to have her on our team. She's hit the ground running, scared, but still hit the ground running. It's been excellent.
We're glad to have you, Wendy.
So the agenda item, approval of an unauthorized purchase pursuant to the Sierra County Procurement Code, Section 2.45. We're requesting approval of a purchase made on April 7th for a conference registration in the amount of $325. It is a legitimate expense. The only thing that was missed was following the procurement process and obtaining the purchase order prior to actually making the purchase on a credit card. I will stand for any questions.
Commissioners, comments, questions? None? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the approval of the unauthorized purchase registration fee.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the purchase. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we'll go to item D, the fiscal agent agreement between Sierra County and the Sierra County Regional Dispatch Authority. We'll go to, which one, Attorney Pato, Manager Vaughn, whoever wants it?
Who do you want it?
I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll
we'll go to
take
Manager
it. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So this is just a housekeeping item. When going through some documents for SCRTA, we decided that we needed to update some and make it a little more clean. And so this is just an update of what Sierra County does for SCRTA as part of being their fiscal agent. That is listed in there. Pretty straightforward. It has been approved by the SCRTA board. They're good with it. So it's just up for your approval, and I will stand for any questions.
Attorney Pato, anything?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing further.
Nothing. Mickey, anything you want to add? None? Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve fiscal agent agreement between Sierra County and SCRTA.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item E is the Sierra County Regional Dispatch Authority, JPA. And we'll go back to this, whoever wants it, highest bidder.
Mr. Chairman, I think that you might want to hear from the Director of SCRTA for the presentation of the JPA.
Looks like it's yours, Mickey.
Good morning again. The original JPA was signed back in 2015. It was time to look at it and see if we need any updates. We did need some updates. We no longer dispatch for New Mexico State Parks, which was listed on the 2015 JPA, so that was taken off. And also, there were only two changes, the taking of New Mexico State Parks off, and, of course, fiscal agent, for whoever the fiscal agent is, we go under their audit system. And those were the only two changes. It was approved by everybody at the SCRTA board meeting last Wednesday. And I think it's something that we also had discussed. I think every 5 years, we need to just look at the JPA, make sure no updates or changes need to be made. So I think 10 years was just a little too long, and everybody agreed.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Sierra County Regional Dispatch Authority, JPA.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the JPA. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank
you,
you.
Mickey. Next, we will go to resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Commissioners, if you're good with it, we'll do item A, B, and C, because they're all kind of the same, all in one discussion, one motion, and we'll hand it over to Billy to provide the background.
These resolutions are just our LGRF projects we do every year. The only thing I saw in here is we can't do a match waiver for SB, for school bus. We can do match waivers for the other two, the CAP and the SP.
So which one is the one we can't do the match for?
The SB, the school bus,
Okay.
it'll be
Item B,
item B, yep.
We have our finance director.
I'm sorry, I think the titles on the resolutions are correct. It might just be a copy-paste issue on the agenda itself.
Okay, thank you.
So we can still do the three in one motion? Okay.
With that, Commissioners, if there's comments, questions, now would be the time. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 2025-47, 48, and 49.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolutions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving on to item D is Resolution 2025-50, accepting and approving the FY 23-24 audit. Go to Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. As you heard earlier, the auditors gave their presentation. We have been working very diligently on cleaning up the fixed asset item. We did hire a company, as I mentioned earlier, who finished a complete count, and we've been working with finance to get that updated so that next year we don't have this issue. And we've already put in the process for the fuel receipt issue that we had as well. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioners, we had the presentation. Is there anything additional? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution number 2025-50, accepting and approving the fiscal year 23-24 audit.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up is Resolution 2025-51, supporting the incorporation of ivermectin into livestock and wildlife feeds to combat the New World screwworm fly. And we'll go to Attorney Pato.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Paxton shared information from a neighboring county regarding the New World screwworm, which is expected to arrive in America in July of 2025. This resolution is calling on the President and the federal government to authorize the incorporation of ivermectin into dry feed to address that. It's expected to have significant impacts on both livestock and wildlife. And I stand for any questions the board might have.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
The screwworm is already in Texas, in the Boot Hill area of Texas, the Big Bend area. It's flesh eating. Those larvae degrade the quality of the beef. And when they go to slaughter, they have to actually cut out those cysts, so you lose meat. It's very important that we support our livestock producers in getting feed with ivermectin in it so that these larvae will not be able to consume flesh of the cows. So with that, I think we need to this is a support measure and asking USDA to do what's right.
Thank you, Vice Chair Paxton. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 2025-51, supporting the incorporation of ivermectin into livestock and wildlife feeds to combat New World screwworm epidemic.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item F, we're getting towards the end here, Commissioners. 2025-52, recognizing Sugar Sand Road and Bridge as a public prescriptive easement. We'll go to Attorney Pato.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we are presently working on a project on Sugar Sand Bridge, and as part of that project, we were asked to make confirmation that the bridge and the roadway are a public prescriptive easement. So you have before you a draft resolution identifying the basis upon which Sugar Sand Road and Bridge is a public prescriptive easement. Specifically, we had the road department look to examine the road maintenance maps and submission reports and to the state, and it was constructed, the Sugar Sand Bridge was constructed back in '66. It's provided continuous public access for 60 years. The public roadway has been maintained by the county for just as long, and for that reason, the county characterizes this road as a public prescriptive easement, and we are therefore permitted to continue to maintain and improve the bridge and surrounding roads.
Commissioners, comments, questions? None? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution 2025-52, recognizing Sugar Sand Road and Bridge as a public prescriptive easement.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G is Resolution 2025-53, adopting an FY 2027 to 2031, Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan. Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So this is our ICIP for FY '27 through 2031. I have put them in my priority order, but I want to run that past all of you. I'll go through the top 10, and then if you guys would like to make changes to the order, please let me know. The first one is the Emergency Operations Center. We currently have $1.3 million set aside for this. The full construction is $3.5 million, so I'm looking to add that and have it on the top for $2.2 million. There is kind of a time crunch here because some of the funding does expire in 2027. The next item is the fairgrounds, the new swine facility. That is estimated to cost about $2 million, so we're asking for $2 million for priority number 2. The next one is a refuse truck or a solid waste vehicle for the road and transfer stations. That's from the road department. It's $300,000. Our old truck is very old and we need to replace it. The next one is a skid steer for the road department at $200,000. It's for the road department to do things. We don't currently have one and it would be much needed. Item number 5 would be the Divide Well Road. That is to design, construct, and do the right-of-way for that position. That's about a $9 million project. Altogether, we could phase it, which I will put into the ICIP, that we could phase it into different phases. The next item is Sugar Sand Bridge, which we just did the prescriptive easement. It's for Phase 2. That's up for change. We did apply for Phase 1 through TPF funding through NMDOT. We will find out whether or not we receive that about September. If we do get Phase 1, we would like to try to get Phase 2 funded so we could do it all kind of at the same time, because there's some, with the river and all of that, there are some issues with doing it piecemeal. The next item would be the Array Recreational Facility. So as we talked about is the baseball field. We've also talked about maybe doing some more design and some more amenities out there, maybe a pavilion, some equipment, maybe some outdoor gyms, a walking trail, those sort of things around that area. And item 8 is the Hillsborough Outfall Channel. We are currently in the middle of the master plan drainage design with Bohannon and Houston, but I do know that that outfall channel in that park is the #1 priority. The $500,000 that's listed in there was an educated guess. They're actually working on an actual construction estimate for me right now. So that is, the dollar amount is subject to change, but those are the top 8. The next one is a a Sally port at the detention center for more safety and all of that, so that vehicles, when they pull up or when they're transporting inmates, that they can pull into something that's secure, so we don't have to worry about those things. Item 10 is just some general road improvements in Array, New Mexico. With that, if you have any questions.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
It's very ambitious. I think every item on there is, I'm fine with the priorities, and I'm glad to see some of those items for the road department, the refuse truck, and the skid steer, so they can continue to improve our service on roads and things that they need to do. The Divide Well Road, were we going to negotiate with NMDOT on that? I know you're trying to get a grant, but have we entered into discussion with DOT for that? Because it cuts off 7 miles on the trip to Spaceport.
I know, and Chair, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe last year when we presented this for the ICIP to the legislators, they would like to also explore having that roadway transferred over to NMDOT for their maintenance. I figured keeping it in the list and keeping it at the top of our minds is a good idea if we'd like to move forward with that project, whether that be NMDOT or the county.
And if I may, just to kind of add to that, where my concern with kind of just the top 5 at least is our legislators are pretty strapped for capital outlay. They have to divvy it up amongst all the counties, and we have some pretty big requests when it comes to that. And the reality is, we may get one of them if we're lucky, but I know I can fairly confidently say that we're not going to get 2 of them.
Right.
And then I think we're definitely not going to get that 9 million. I think it needs to stay on our ICIP, but I would be of the opinion of moving maybe that one down.
Sure.
Out of the top 5, because I mean, in reality, legislators only look at your top 5.
So what would you recommend, just the Sugar Sand Bridge Phase 2 as 5?
I don't think that really helps us, because that's a $4 million request.
Would you consider the Array recreational improvements?
My top 2 are going to be that one or the detention Sally Port, just for safety concerns. But I guess those would be, one of those 2 would be my preference to move into the top 5.
I'm sorry, I missed the first one.
The Array recreation facility.
Facility.
And then my other one was the detention Sally Port.
So the rate would be number 5?
I'll leave that up to
That's,
my fellow commissioners to determine how those pan out.
Would we consider making Array Recreation Facility number 5 and the Sally Port number 6?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Okay.
And then Divide Wells Road would be
7?
7?
Yep.
And the only reason I say that, Commissioner, is just the likelihood of us getting $9 million is 0 to none.
Well, I agree.
But I think it's important to continue to have that ICIP, have it on the ICIP plan, just because those discussions are looking to continue to happen with legislators. And I think it's fair of them to say that anything that has to do with spaceport and cutting time off, going to a state facility should be state managed.
That's right. We sure agree on that.
So with that, if we're good with those changes, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt Resolution 2025-53 with the changes discussed.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution with the changes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is the executive session. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we go into executive session, Section 10 through 15, E through H, pending and threatened litigation, Coulter versus Sierra County.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
We're in executive session. We'll now come out of executive session. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we come out of executive session. Only the items listed were discussed. There is no action to staff.
Thank you. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Could we have a roll call?
Commissioner
Sorry.
Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Paxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Thank you. We do have an action item out of executive session, but we don't believe we need a motion for that. So our next scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, July 15th here at the Commission Chambers. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
I have a motion to second. We're adjourned.